Okay, it's that time of the week for our great movie critic. And let's give it up for the one and only. He is Rocco Pasafumi. By the way, we gave him a new name last week because, we have great names for our segments. We have the Renaissance Man, Scott Ferrone. We have Sensational Seniors with Mary Malloy. We had Clear for Takeoff with Rich Kaplan. So I said to Rocco, Rocco, you're the only one, you've been with me the longest, that doesn't have a cool nickname for your segment.
Right.
So I came up with a cool nickname. Because how could Rocco be the only one without a cool nickname?
Yeah. I appreciate
so
that.
The nickname I came up for his segment, since his name is Rocco Pasafumi, is Let's Make Way for Around the Movie Block with The Rock.
Thank you very much, Howie. The movie I have for you this week is called Ant-Man and the Wasp. It is directed by Peyton Reed and it stars Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, and Michael Douglas. It is the latest movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The premise of this movie is Scott Lang, played by Rudd, balances both being a superhero and a father. He suits up as Ant-Man and teams up with Hope Van Dyne, played by Lily, who becomes the superhero the Wasp, to uncover secrets from their past. We've had two big superhero movies from Marvel in the past year. We had the record-breaking Black Panther, which is definitely one of the best movies of the year. It's a fantastic movie, regardless of whether it's about superheroes or what have you. The other movie that Marvel put out this year is, It's Avengers Infinity War, which is another big movie. Not quite as good front to back as a movie, but it's pretty exciting, it's pretty adventurous, and it definitely is a major payoff of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. With this particular movie, the stakes are much lower with this movie. It's a more back to the kind of normal expectations of what you have from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But overall, it's a pretty good movie. It's a light movie. It's more action based. It's more of a simple plot. The other aspect of it is that it's not focused so much on a particular villain. So, like I said, it's not quite as driven by a big story as maybe some of the other movies. It's definitely more for the hardcore fans of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And with one thing that the Marvel studio delivers consistently is very good top to bottom entertainment, and then you will definitely see it with this movie. You got great comedy, everything works, front to back. Like I said, it's not the most, distinct movie in the franchise, but I think there's much for people to enjoy. It's a good sequel to Ant-Man, which maybe is one of the lesser, Marvel movies, I think, but I think overall, there's much for people to enjoy with this particular entry in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And, it's a nice, fun summer movie. All the summer movies are about, fun, spectacle, and this doesn't fall short of delivering that. So, overall, I give Ant-Man and the Wasp 3 out of 5 stars, and hopefully we'll see where Marvel Cinematic Universe goes next year with, the exciting Captain Marvel, the first big female superhero in the franchise, as well as the fourth and potentially final Avengers. So thank you very much.
Okay, I noticed a story in Newsday a few days ago, criticism of a role about Scarlett Johansson taking on a transgender role, and I asked Rocco to tackle this story, and without further ado, take it away, Rocco.
Thank you very, very much, Howie. This concerns, this particular person, to seg from the previous segment, the movie review, is actually an actress who is part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Scarlett Johansson. She plays Black Widow in that. And, but this role is concerning a future role that she's doing. It's for a crime drama. It's called Rub and Tug. It's about a massage parlor owner who was born in a woman who identifies as a man. And that is considered a transgendered person. And the crazy thing about this story, when it was brought to my attention, is that this is actually the second straight movie that she's been in where she and the director, Rupert Sanders, are involved in a casting controversy. The last movie that had that was their previous movie together, which was an action science fiction movie known as Ghost in the Shell, and which was a decent movie. It was a good movie, but the controversy with that particular movie was the fact that the movie is based on a comic and an animated movie and a couple of anime TV series that are very, very popular out of Japan, and has a cult following here in the States. And I'm a big fan of it particularly, so this definitely raised eyebrows with me. But my feeling when the Ghost in the Shell thing went down is the fact that, the problem with Hollywood is that Hollywood is a very global entity, but it's also something that is first and foremost an American concern. And the problem is that most Americans, by and large, are white. 63% of the country is white. So, when we look at demographics and you look at, who to market a movie to, the natural assumption on most people is when you're marketing a movie in America, you market mostly to white people. And, but with this, the thing that struck me about that particular controversy with Ghost in the Shell is the fact that the movie, if you put it out for Japan, which is the second largest foreign market outside of America, the Japanese didn't really care about it. They understood that, that this was made not just for them, it was made for a global audience. And, I feel like the movie, for the most part, really tried to placate those concerns about a global audience. They had people of all different diversities do roles in this movie. But as far as this particular movie, this Rub and Tug, which has not been released yet, the thing that struck me about this is that the nature of acting is about transformation, and it's about people kind of going outside of themselves to play something other than who they are. And the issue that strikes me about this particular idea of why why have a white cisgendered female play this role rather than somebody who's transgendered is the fact that then if it's acting, then you want somebody that's going to completely be transformative in the role. And I get that the idea is to have inclusion and to have people of all different stripes, do movies. And there are a few transgendered actors out there in Hollywood, but then the question becomes how many of them are there, and does this meet the market demand for this? Because unfortunately not many of them are very big celebrities. We have a couple, we have, from Orange is the New Black, Laverne Cox, and that's probably the biggest one. And we have an actor who's on a TV show right now on, Amazon, which is about the subject, Tracy Lizette. She's the only transgendered performer that's like the major star of the show. And, but, other than that, there's not really a lot of people that are big names. And for the most part, people, when they go to the movies, they want to see big names. And unfortunately, there are a lot of new faces in Hollywood, and it takes time for people to, especially on a global level, to get their name across. And he will go back to the issue of, we need a star to carry the movie. That's what everybody says, is that we need a big name to sell this movie because, of course, movies cost a lot of money to make. Even the cheapest movies tend to be $10 million to make, and it's not easy to get the money, the finances to put this kind of movie together. And of course, making a movie is a big risk, and it's a lot of work, and it's difficult to get your movie in the theaters. I mean, if you're not a Hollywood movie, which has a chain theater, and that's all that that's guaranteed to have a movie in a lot of theaters, you have to have art house theaters do it, and most art house theaters are in big cities like New York right here, and California, and Chicago, and all that. So it's a bigger struggle to have these kinds of movies find an audience, and that's always the concern of most of these studio heads, is they think about the return on investment of this kind of thing. It's like any other kind of business. It's all about, will this movie make many money? Because of course there's always the concern that you make a movie, you're going to lose money, and of course actors want to be paid the directors want to be paid, the producers want to be paid, the crew wants to be paid. So it creates this kind of dilemma where, unfortunately, not everybody is going to win. And of course, we have things that are changing this whole dynamic. We have a lady that really brought this to the public's attention. Her name is April Rain. She's a lawyer turned political activist turned head of an agency that's trying to help Hollywood find minority actors, whether it's minorities of color or minorities of sexuality, and trying to get them to be to find people that would fit the roles of all this. It's just a very, very complicated process because you want actors that are going to be names, unfortunately, and it's just a very, very difficult thing right now, and probably in a couple of years we'll probably see this happen. But of course, the difficulty is that you want people that are going to help your movie succeed, and there's so many variables that make a movie succeed, as I previously mentioned. And like I said, it's just a very, very complicated issue, and it's something that has to be addressed with a great deal of sensitivity, because people look at this issue on its face and people are thinking like people are being overly sensitive and stuff like that, but you have to really look at it from perspectives of people that are whether they're people of color or they're people of different gender identities, is that they have this need to feel that they are represented, that they feel that they're of import. They want to see people like themselves, and that's something that Hollywood is trying to be of great sensitivity to. So it's a very, very complicated issue, and I think it's something that requires a very, very complicated discussion. So hopefully, in due time, we'll see a situation where it will pan out, where it'll be good for everybody, because Hollywood has said that diversity is good for business. We've seen it with Black Panther. We have a movie coming out in the summer called Crazy Rich Asians, and that's a market that's a big minority in America. Asian Americans make up 4% of the country. So we're going to see all this play out in a couple of years, and it's just based on the notion that these projects will succeed and it'll start a chain reaction of more coming out. So that's sort of what I have to say about that. So thank you very much, Howie.
Good. Thank you, Rocco. Good job. All right. Tony.